Welcome to the Purpose Podcast. I am your host, Gabe,
And I'm your co-host, Josh.
and today is March 12th, 2026. And I think you're going to be seeing us on Monday the 16th.
Uh-huh.
Now, like I said before, I ain't really good with dates. So
The
we'll see when I go to
before
post if
St.
that's the right date.
Patrick's
Is that going to be St. Patrick's Day?
the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't know our holidays. Um, our inspirational quote for today is the only thing necessary for a triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing by Edmund Burke. That's
Great.
very true. How's your week been, Josh?
It's been good. It's been a little bit slower. We got through some finals with classes.
Hmm.
We getting through the week with work, and it's been a lot slower, a lot better. How's your week been?
Same, brother. It's very slow. It's been a long one. And I'm ready for the weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I get a full 2 days. I ain't got to work Saturday, so that's a blessing.
Same. Thank God for those blessings.
Oh yes. Today's topic is discipline of the tongue. And one thing that I got from this lesson is that people really don't see discipline, or people usually see discipline as a routine of like workouts or finances. But the biggest discipline, or what I believe is the biggest discipline, is about the controlling of our mouths.
hmm And I think it's one that a lot of people tend to overlook
Mm-hmm.
because when I was doing my research for this, a lot of stuff was coming to my mind like, oh, I need to do better about that. A lot of people need to do better about that.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I got was from the verses of Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your words have like so much power. And a lot of times it's your words can speak louder than your actions. You can tear people down or you can bring them up, but we should bring people up by validation, encouragement, and hope instead of negative interactions like criticism and harshness. Negative behavior can cause emotional damage and it can hurt their confidence. And Mark 11:14, it says, and he said to it, may no one ever eat fruit from you again. And the disciples heard it. Now, this story is about the fig tree. And after he said this, next day, the fig tree got withered to its fruit. Now, think about this. What if you wish harsh things on someone? Jesus cursing the fig tree was a different lesson. It was more about faith than, being wicked to somebody. But I feel like we can also turn this into a lesson on the power of tongue. It can be a teaching moment. So, what if you're wishing harsh things on someone and, like, to say you told them that you wish good never comes to them? And one of the things that we hear a lot, and we can see it like in different movies, TV shows, we can hear it from people in the real world. A lot of times you hear, I hope you rot in hell. I'm sure you've probably heard it before, Josh. I mean, I have.
Oh yeah. hmm A lot.
And, someone hearing that might bring them down into a spiral and into a downward spiral in their life. You might speak these harsh words into existence in their life.
hmm
And it's kind of, like when he was talking about the fig tree, he said, um, that fruit is not going to come from it again. And then it withered to its roots. He spoke that into existence.
Uh-huh.
But he kind of do the same thing. I mean, it's two different things. He is God. Whatever he says goes. But it kind of shadows like how we can speak some of the existence just by saying it. So that's how we should always speak good.
Uh-huh.
So, but so instead, we should say things like, I'm going to pray for you, or, like, have a blessed day. You go into
Uh,
an argument, have a blessed day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray for you. But
Oh,
it also don't say it in a way like, you're using it to your advantage. Say it in a way, it's come from the heart and that you mean for it in goodwill.
mhm.
And
Always speak positive to somebody.
mm, and at least that way it's verbal encouragement, and you're also planting a seed in their life.
Right. And honestly, it doesn't matter how big or small a word is, it can be very powerful. And most of the time, we don't realize how much power a word has until after we've already used it or after we
Hmm.
said it. And words can hurt, but they can also heal too at the same time.
Hmm.
And that's why we've got to be careful with what we say. People can take things out of context very easily. And we see this a lot of time when we're like texting each other, because you're not really face to face. You don't have that human interaction. But we also see it happen when it is face to face. And sometimes just one sentence or even one word can change the way someone sees themselves or sees the world around them.
Hmm.
And there's a couple Bible verses that really stuck with me. And one of them is Colossians 4:6. It says, "Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one." And the other one comes from Matthew 12:37. And these are words of Jesus. It says, "For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned." So when we talk, we're not just making noises, we're also showing what's in our hearts.
Hmm.
And our words carry our intentions and our emotions. And ideally, we should be using them to lift people up, to give people
Hmm.
encouragement and confidence and also hope.
But like if you speak, confidence in somebody's life, that might put them in a situation where they're open to, man, he's a nice guy.
Uh-huh.
Does he go to church? They might start questioning, like, man, maybe if it's making a difference in his life, maybe it'll make a difference in mine.
Yeah. And you want the way that you speak, you want that to become part of who you are. You don't
Hmm.
want to be known as someone who constantly puts others down or even puts yourself down. And even somebody that's like very boastful, you don't want to be known as that. But that's not the kind of energy people remember in a good way.
Hmm.
So we need to try to speak with grace. When we speak to people, we need to try to uplift them, talk with encouragement, because you never know who might need to hear something kind that day. And your words really do matter more than what you think they do.
And another thing we have to think about whenever we're thinking of the power of words is how can we tame the tongue? And some of the scripture that I found in the Bible is from James 3:5-6. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and setting on fire by hell. So the small fire equals your words. Forest is set ablaze equals your consequences. Your tongue can get you in trouble.
Right.
So let's say, for example, let's say you have a job and say that you have a coworker that you really don't care about. And so let's say you and another fellow coworker start gossiping about this person. And let's say the coworker you're talking about, he's to say that she's on the other side of the wall as she overhears you.
Hmm.
So, and at this point, there's three options that may happen. They'll either start talking about you, they'll have some words, or they'll go tell the boss. In any way you put it, there's going to be negative consequences
Uh-huh.
because what's going to happen is they're going to start talking about you. And later on, that's going to lead to another altercation. Y'all gonna have some words. More than likely, y'all both gonna get wrote up. Y'all both gonna be sent to the boss's office or HR's office. Three, they'll go to the boss. They won't get in trouble for what they done, but you will. You're gonna get wrote up. You're gonna go to HR, the boss's office. So it's kind of better to stay clear from the gossip and drama by taming your tongue and to speak well into others instead of turning your back on people.
Right. And I think taming the tongue is a really good subject to talk about because I feel like it's something that, including myself, everybody
Yeah,
could use.
everybody's convicted of it.
Uh-huh. And just like words, the tongue is also powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Our tongue can lead us into something destructive, or it could also direct us into something amazing. And the Bible says in Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And Proverbs 21:23 also says, whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. And we can easily get caught up in our emotions and let something slip out that we shouldn't say. And we can act with carelessness, anger, and other emotions which can make or break relationships. But the same tongue can also do incredible good. It can comfort someone, encourage them. It can calm more tense situation, and it can remind others that they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part we don't really talk about. Our words can destroy, but they can also build. So when we tame the tongue, we also tame the environment that we're around in. Because once words leave your mouth, they don't come back. They impact, their impact sticks around. So that's why it's very important to choose your words um, in a good manner, choose them nicely, correctly. And also, if you don't have nothing nice to say, just don't say it at all.
I agree 100%.
And tame your tongue. You know, if you're gonna talk about people, at least talk about them in a good way, uplift them, because you don't know what situation they're in. And if you're constantly talking negative about them or going around saying stuff about them, that gets a negative outlook on that person's life and on your life as well.
So, Josh, one question I got for you is how can we train tongue through our hearts?
Well, Jesus says in Matthew 15:18, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and they defile a man.
Mm-hmm.
So our thoughts and words that we release, they stem from what our heart believes. And whatever emotions we're feeling on the inside is what we're going to is what we're going to well, is what we're going to release on the outside. And if we're full of anger, frustration, insecurity, that's going to come out in the way that we speak. But if our hearts are filled with patience, kindness, and peace, that shows up as well. So I think how to train the tongue through the heart is you need a heart check. You need to, if your heart's filled with depression, anxiety, anger, you need to let that go and you need to replace it with peace and kindness and patience because whatever emotions that your heart is feeling, that's what is going to come out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think you need like a heart check. You need to check how you
Yeah,
feel.
check your heart.
Yeah, check your heart because your heart's going to tell your mouth what to say.
I think that's a good explanation there. I think that's a good way to train your heart. The verse I got, whatever I was studying, was in Matthew 12. And in this chapter, there's a verse that states, for out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so the way I got from the saying was that your words reflect your moral character. If let's say a random person sees you in Walmart let's say someone rams a buggy into your buggy. And let's say that you get mad and you start cussing at them, you start speaking ill on them. What do you think a random person from afar is going to think? What do you think that they're going to think about you? They're probably going to think, man, they're not really a godly person.
Uh-huh.
But see, but in reality, we should always strive to be a godly person, even though
Hmm.
we will always fall short of the glory of God, but we should always strive to be like that, even though we
Yeah.
always fall short.
Uh-huh.
So one thing I'm going to encourage through this is if we start to feel the urge to speak ill or cuss, then we should bite our tongue and we should remove ourselves from that conversation.
Hmm.
And it might be hard at first because you're probably used to it, but once you make it a habit, then it becomes easier to avoid these certain conversations or situations.
Right.
So we should always remember that the Lord knows our true character and he knows every word that we're going to say.
Uh-huh. He even
And
knows the thoughts that you might not even say.
exactly, he knows everything.
Uh-huh.
So let's just train ourselves to do better.
Yeah. And I think it goes for me, for everybody out there listening. And we all need a heart check. We all need to do better. Um, and we need to speak in a not so negative way.
You really don't see people now go to somebody they don't like and just say, you know, have a blessed day or I'll pray for you or nothing. You see them mostly try just to talk crap behind their back, kind of instead of being a godly person to
Right.
them. So pretty much what I'm gonna do is I want to challenge anybody who feels like that they're constantly gossiping or maybe they cuss, maybe they talk ill to people, they don't have the right vocabulary. I'm gonna encourage y'all that every time that y'all feel the urge to do any of that, kind of step back, kind of step away from the conversation, or it's kind of like if you're in a conversation with somebody who's doing it, it's kind of like try your best to kind of like ignore it, kind of look past the words and just it's like shake your head, say yeah, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
but don't partake in those words. Don't partake in speaking ill,
Uh-huh.
and then encourage that person. Just encourage that and uplift that person, and encourage them that hey, maybe we should try to think the best in the situation, or maybe let's let's just try to get different vocabulary. I mean, that's probably not going to sit well, but
Hmm.
or what you can also do is just say, just bring up subtly, say, hey, look, I've been listening to this podcast. You should listen to it.
Yeah.
You go watch the latest episode, and it's about the discipline of tongues, and maybe
Change
that'll play something.
change it from gossip to promotion.
Exactly, exactly. So I thought this was a good topic. This is something that everybody goes through. I mean, I go through it. I can do better. I know I can.
I can too. And like I said, I feel like this is for everybody, us, everybody listening. It's a good reminder.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But I think on that note, we're gonna end the episode on that. Um, go follow us on our socials on Instagram, TikTok, and if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to go follow us on Apple Podcasts. If you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you go like and subscribe on YouTube. Y'all have a good week. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And remember, tell your friends about the podcast and make sure they tell other people about it. So
Spread the
we
word.
so we can reach more people. That's the point of doing this is just reaching people.
Yes, we
It's
try
not
not to make heaven more crowded.
exactly. We're trying. This ain't about us getting famous. This is about us reaching people. This is
Uh-huh.
about us growing in our faith. It's also about make sure other people grow in their faith.
Right.
So on that note, always remember, seek your